Murli Notes, 2nd December 2022. Meditation on the spiritual study is a deeply internal activity of the mind and does not involve chanting or any sound. It is silent communion with God, the Supreme Soul. Shiva, the unlimited Father of all souls, has come from Paramdham, the soul world, Nirvana. The incorporeal one is called God. In France, the word incorporeal is used particularly for electronic data and cyberspace, which solidifies the secular mentality and intercepts the mind's trajectory towards the world beyond matter. It is important to understand the role of language and how it is manipulated to control the public mind and public opinion. This is why public opinion is the most unreliable source of information, and it is also why Baba is against the principle and concept of democracy. This is also the reason why the translation and interpretation of the language used by Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba can be used to bend people's thinking one way or the other. Language can be used to ensure logical, coherent, consistent thought processes, and it can also be used to bind the uneducated in blind faith and suspension of disbelief. Language can be used to ensure freedom and equally well to deny freedom. The Murlis contain all the arguments needed to take down the tradition of misuse of language, to obstruct clear, coherent, logical, and consistent thinking about spiritual concepts and ethical matters. This is why Raj Yoga meditation is based on study, and this is also why Baba gives maximum importance to churning the Murlis. If you do not churn the Murlis, your thinking remains incoherent. If you do churn the Murlis, then you acquire a clear intellect, which is also called a divine intellect. It is then difficult for anyone to manipulate or intimidate you. In this way, Shiv Baba educates you to become free and independent. He also gives you the spiritual power to endure the consequences of that. Here, you are not sitting in front of any guru or human religious authority, but you are sitting in front of the unlimited Father in Madhuban, where the flute of knowledge is played. This takes place only at the cusp of the time cycles. It is inaccurate, illogical, and incoherent to accept the concept that God comes every age within each time cycle. Human-made religious scriptures have not been there since the earliest time. However, the ocean and rivers are eternal. There are no religions and no religious activity during the Golden and Silver Ages. All that begins in the Copper Age, also called the Bronze Age, after the Small Destruction. At this time, the Unlimited Father, who is the Ocean of Knowledge, is sitting in the body of this Brahma and telling the knowledge to you. This cannot be done in the subtle regions, but he comes face to face with you and speaks to you. This is why there is a belief in the one who dwells far away. You are also voyagers. You also come to Earth from far beyond to perform your roles. You know that planet Earth is the field of action where the game of victory and defeat takes place. The spiritual father explains this to you. At this time, all people desire peace. It does not mean that they wish to leave for nirvana, but they want peace here on earth. However, stillness and silence of the mind is not possible here. Even the renunciates, sages, and saints are unaware that the only place where there can be silence is in the incorporeal dimension. They believe the soul merges into the undifferentiated, all-pervading light of Brahman. They are unaware that the dharma of the soul is itself silence, stillness, and peace. Dharma means what it is by definition. The soul speaks. The soul dwells originally and permanently in the dimension of silence, nirvana. At present, all desire to return to that dimension of stillness and peace. There are 3 states: Sakari, which is corporeal; Akari, which is subtle, like a ghost or angel; and Nirakari, which means incorporeal. Shiva says, "I am incorporeal," which does not imply that I have no name or form. I have a name, and my form is incorporeal, an infinitesimal point of non-physical light. That is the form of a soul, and that is the form of the Supreme Soul. On one hand, the religious authorities praise me, and on the other hand, they defame me by declaring that I am omnipresent. Their reasoning is incoherent, illogical, and inconsistent. They say that I have no name and no form, then they say that I am everywhere. Anything with no name and no form cannot have a location. Anything that is everywhere must have a name and a form. No one declares that the soul has no name and no form. They even specify that the location of the soul is at the center of the forehead of the human body. The soul leaves one body and takes another. It reincarnates. This is your study. You are learning the philosophical arguments for clarifying matters of the spirit. By this, you can demonstrate that religious concepts are flawed, incoherent, inconsistent, and unusable for spiritual practice. This is the reason why religious, moral, and political authorities demand blind faith and dislike being interrogated. Bear in mind that moral and political authorities base their premises on religious tenets. Om Shanti.